I'm Maria Trivelpiece alongside the new head coach of the Temple football program, K.C. Keeler. Coach, congratulations, first of all, on the new role.
Thank you, Maria.
When you saw that this position was open, what made you decide, yes, I want to be the head coach of the Temple football team?
Well, it started with a phone call from the head hunter. And I said, sure, I'll listen. And 2 days later, Arthur Johnson showed up in Texas. And so that impressed me. And then a 1 hour conversation became a 3 hour conversation. And during that meeting, I FaceTimed with our president, John Fry. And the Eagles were on. And he's hollering at the television because, the Eagles are doing something that fans weren't happy with.
Yep, that's usually the case.
Yeah, sometimes it happens. And then he would have that conversation with me, and I said, what a great situation. I have a passionate president for his local sports team. And Arthur impressed me so much also. So I also had a lens of Temple football. My '79 team, when I played at Delaware, won the national championship, like 13-1, and the loss was to Temple. And the year before, we were number 2 in the country, and Temple really took us apart. So I know Matt Rule, I know Al Golden, I know what this place has been and can be. And so I got really excited.
Well, I think that everyone is very excited to have you at Temple. And you talk about those teams that beat you when you were at other schools. How do you want to bring this Owls program back to that kind of success?
It's a simple formula in terms of recruiting. The first thing was there's a good base here of players. And so we worked really hard to retain these players. The second thing is within 5 hours of Temple's campus, it's some of the greatest high school football in America. And we're going to focus on that footprint. It's going to be from New York down to Virginia out to Ohio. And now, sure, we'll be into Georgia, and sure, we'll be into to Florida, but our footprint is really going to be where we put a lot of our energy. So I know, with its location and its academic reputation and the great facilities we have, I know that there's been great football here before, and I know we can do it again.
So you know where that footprint is, and now you've been here on campus for a couple of months now. How have you been adjusting to just developing that footprint and talking with your coaching staff and just building around what you already have?
The first thing is, hiring a coaching staff. To me, it's a jigsaw puzzle, and not every person that you had at one place is going to fit into the next place. And so that was hard. I brought with me my general manager, I brought with me my strength coach, but I also then decided to bring in a bunch of coaches that I thought had some regional fits that would really be good for us. And so that's where it started. I also went on the road. I was down in D.C., I was down in Baltimore, I was in South Jersey, I was in parts of Pennsylvania, I was up in North Jersey, letting everyone know that Temple's back. And we're recruiting this region. And there's so many tie-ins with, players in this area that have family or relations that have Temple, roots. So I think it was really important for me to get out on the road and talk to everybody and say, hey, listen, we're recruiting the territory. This is our footprint, and we'll be in that footprint hard.
I think that the people of the footprint will definitely appreciate Temple coming in and recruiting some of those players. Now, you've won pretty much everywhere that you've been so far. What do you think it is that allows you to have that success?
I'm a problem solver. And so I walk into a place like Sam Houston, and I see very quickly I'm going to recruit Texas, and Texas. Yeah. And I decide, okay, how are we going to best put a staff together? And so it's just a matter of looking at every place and every institution and figuring out what its sweet spots are and what you need to lean into. Temple's Temple TUFF. We're built on 10th and Diamond. There's so much tradition and history here. And so we're leaning into that. And I've been really good at surrounding myself with people smarter than myself. And I've been really good at finding great players. So if I do anything really well, it's I encircle myself with the right people, and that's why I think my success has been what it's been.
I'm going to ask you about that Temple TUFF in just a moment, but I want to talk about you a little bit more. You get to kind of come back to where you are from, yep. So your hometown area, so to speak. What has that been like getting back to Pennsylvania?
Well, I got 3 grandchildren in Wilmington, Delaware, and my daughter's over there with her husband. And so when we decided to make this move and we finally got everything worked out, it was my wife's birthday. And she cried for an hour. I'm like, we're out to dinner.
Please don't. Can you not?
Something's
bad. No, this is a happy cry.
These are happy cries, yeah. So it was tough because, Texas was a great place for us for 11 years. My son's on the West Coast working out in LA, and my daughter's on the East Coast. But just something about those grandchildren. You know, you only can FaceTime with them so many times before you want to, get hugged. So, but also, I saw the opportunity that Temple was. I really believe that there's so much untapped potential here. And, I was looking for my next challenge. And, this is my next challenge.
Are we going to get to see the grandkids at some Temple football games next year?
Absolutely.
They're gonna be here, okay,
yeah.
and they'll have full gear on and everything.
Yeah, they'll be into it.
Okay, I'm excited to see that. Now, you talked about Temple TUFF. How are you going to bring Temple TUFF into the American Athletic Conference?
Yeah, it's a great brand, it's a great mentality. Now let's live it every single day. And also think the kind of people I hired as coaches, we're not going to be an operation where with 4th and a half a yard to go, we can bring 5 wide receivers on the field. We're going to run the ball action. We're going to have that mentality. And the offensive coordinator I chose, that was the mentality they had at Montana State. Now, they threw the ball very effectively, but based on the fact they could run the football. Same thing defensively, physical defensive line. It all starts up front. And special teams. I hired Brian Ginn, who's a Chicago Bear special teams coordinator, was with me at Delaware, and I know he's going to bring a brand of special teams that is going to be very aggressive. So, that Temple TUFF, it's a slogan, but it's also something we have to live every single day, and our kids understand that we have to live up to that mentality, because the alums, that's what they expect. Yeah. And I love that they expect that. That's how they were raised on Temple TUFF, and that's what we'll be.
Well, everyone has heard it here. Temple TUFF is coming back to Philadelphia. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thank you.